Hello, everyone. It's Kim Hayworth from Good News Daily, and today I'm joined with Colton Jones, and we're going to be chatting about the benefits of being in nature. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is being a tree today. So, Colton, what are your experiences with being a tree?
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Thank you for having me over here today. I know Good News Daily is talking a lot about nature right now, and that seems to be the theme. That's something I am deeply connected with is nature. I've found all of my healing and benefit through the natural world, and I know a lot of people can say that for themselves as well.
Sure.
There is a benefit to being in nature. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit more than being in nature is being nature.
Yeah.
And I think it's really funny that we're discussing that because I know you did that video with Voxana where she was talking about how, she saw herself more as nature and being nature. And I want to reiterate on that more because I think that's the most important thing is remembering that we are nature. And that every moment we spend out in nature it's not just a reset for our systems. It's not just being out in nature or forest bathing or aligning ourselves with the energy, but it is being a part of the forest. Yeah. So when I'm outside, when I'm on a hike or when I'm on one of my backpacking trips, I'm walking through the trees and I'm asking myself what it is like to be that tree. When so many times in life we go through struggles, we deal with stress on a day-to-day basis, so many things happen, and a tree's equivalent of that is of having its branches cut off or of changes happening in its environment that it can't control. Right. There's so much out of a tree's control, yet they still just grow. Yeah. And they grow taller and taller and they soak up the light. So as I'm walking through the woods, I'm connecting with the trees in that sense that there's a part of me that is a tree too, that I don't have control over certain things in life. And what I do have control over is always remembering to grow. Just like a tree. Taller, and you never know where you're going to go when you're growing. You're just reaching for the light as much as you can. Sometimes the top of that tree might be cascading over a mountain range that's beautiful. Sometimes it's right next to an apartment building. Yeah. But the tree doesn't choose that. It just grows. And I've had to utilize that a lot in my life. Yeah. It's funny, this concept of being a tree, because I remember back when I was studying Tibetan Buddhism in the Mahayana and Theravada traditions, the Tibetan Book of the Dead actually speaks a bit about how before becoming human, we go through many different lives. And, people have different opinions on transmigration or reincarnation. But in this book, it states that before becoming a human, you experience life as every other thing in this world. So you've been a whale, you've been a spider, you've been a rock, you've been a tree at certain times in your life. And whether I fully believe that or not is, to be decided. But I think as humans, with the creative kind of consciousness we have, I think it's reasonable to think that there is inside of us a part of us that is capable of imagining itself, at least, as being a tree. Sure. And I think there's a lot of strength there.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And we've talked about grounding before in Good News Daily as being an incredible benefit with if you're not able to be outside with your bare feet on the earth, having something inside to help ground you, like a grounding mat or grounding sheets, or even like specific essential oils that are made from trees are very grounding, or incense or something like that.
Absolutely.
So I think just the visualization, grounding ourselves to the earth, having roots coming out of the bottoms of our feet, connecting through all the parts of the earth, like the mycelium, like the water table, like these layers and layers of things in the earth till you get to the energy core. and imagine our roots, if we had roots like a tree, wrapping with that energy of the earth and then coming back up and connecting us to the earth. Just that visualization alone is incredibly powerful.
I agree.
Yeah.
I fully agree. So in shamanic traditions throughout the world, traditions that haven't even touched each other until, the last couple hundred years, they all utilize a tree as this vision for what a human is spiritually. The tree is actually the biggest model for spirituality that we've had since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
In the shamanic view of things, there's three different worlds. You have down in the roots, the underworld, the kind of chthonic realm, and then you have the mid-world, which is kind of like your direct reality. That would be the trunk of the tree. And then you have your more heightened spiritual, higher frequency things that are going on in the branches and leaves and everything. And there's most of the time in shamanic soul retrieval rituals and experiences like that, you visualize yourself going, depending on what you need to work on, or you visualize yourself going down into the roots if it's something in your past or it's something traumatic that's buried deep. You go down in there and you visualize yourself going down, and then what comes up while you're down in that space allows you to work on past traumas, things that are buried in your roots, that the things that you grew up from and with. And the same with going up into the branches of the tree, visualizing yourself going up there and then listening to what thoughts and images come, because rather than fixing something down below, going up into the branches is getting guidance from a higher state of consciousness. For sure. Whether that's you at a higher frequency or if it's the divine, something external, regardless, it allows you to access that. So the tree is a fantastic tool or map to use to climb different areas of spiritual experience.
That's beautiful. I never really thought of it like that. Yeah. It's beautiful.
It really is. And you were talking about grounding as well, and that, kind of bridging this concept in the city. Some people can't get out. Some people work too long or have disabilities that make them not able to get out into nature as often. And the most important thing to remember, and it's something I've had to learn a lot through my life too, because I felt hopeless at times when I couldn't get out into nature, is that nature itself is not just the trees. It's not just being out in the forest. It's not the rivers. It's the lakes. Nature is the thrum of life throughout all of it. The forest is a great reminder of the primal power of nature, but we don't have to be there to access it. We are nature. We were birthed here. So visualizing meditations like that tree we were talking about, or of just putting your bare feet onto the ground, of holding a stone, different things like that, they can ground you and put you right back there with nature in the middle of New York City.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, when we're in that space of being grounded, our system responds.
Oh, yeah.
It really is very balancing. It's healing. It's detoxifying. It's energizing. And it's my belief that our systems were created to have direct contact with the place that we live and have that. If you think about like indigenous tribes, they either walked in their bare feet with leather sandals or moccasins, right?
Yeah.
They had that direct, in which the natural things are conductive.
Yeah.
So, we have shoes now that have rubber soles or have plastic.
Yeah. And where's it going?
And we're not connecting with anything when we're walking around and things like that. So I think a lot of us are experiencing maybe this feeling off or disharmony or something you can't quite put your finger on, but you're not feeling completely yourself.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, I think that's a big part of coming back to balance and health and vitality and physical energy when they're missing that. And maybe you've gone around from doctor to doctor or professional, and maybe tried different supplements or different treatments and wondering why, even though in the blood work it still looks good, right? And people say that you look well, but maybe you're just feeling a little off. Give it a try.
Absolutely.
Give it a try being a tree and giving your tootsies that direct contact with the earth, whether it's inside or outside, and say, I am here. I am grounded. I'm connected. I'm supported. I have everything I need and all is well. And that also speaks to our nervous system. Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely.
When you're being a tree?
Yes, yes. The more you tell yourself these things and remind yourself of these things, because that's really one of the biggest obstacles in the way of living with a sense of spiritual fulfillment is we forget. We are forgetful creatures. We learn a lesson 5 minutes ago, and then 5 minutes ahead of time, someone's driving too slow in front of us, and the lesson we just learned is right out the window.
For sure.
So, and by remaining grounded, you can help yourself better embody those lessons that you're learning. Because when you're grounded, you can't be thrown off course by just whatever is happening out here. You stand firm in your own energy.
I never really thought about it that way. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you really think about it, touching on what you were talking about, that tactile experience as a human, we are electrical creatures. I mean, that's science, medicine has gotten that down pat. We are electrical creatures. We have a nervous system. Energy is flowing through us day in and day out. When you're wearing just rubber shoes and never letting yourself be barefoot, how is that energy discharging? I feel like a lot of people could benefit from just asking themselves this simple question: what have you touched in the last 3 days? I feel like a lot of people go through their whole life not touching life. They'll hold their phone, they'll touch their work computer, they'll hold a mug as they drink or their silverware. But other than that, when's the last time you picked up a stone or dug in the dirt or done anything that would create an electrical discharge, allow energy to leave or energy to come in? Because we don't end where our bodies end.
Absolutely.
So there's always coming in and coming out, and I think people should touch things more.
Yes, especially the earth, especially the things that we're connected to.
Absolutely. I mean, we were made for this world. It has a benefit for us, and we're supposed to have a benefit for it, but we're doing great on that, huh?
That's really introspective, so I appreciate your insight.
Absolutely.
With being a tree today, Colton.
Absolutely, be a tree. Let your branches spread.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I hope this has given you something to contemplate, perhaps feel into for your own life today, and be a blessing. See you later. Bye-bye.